We got live. Still says offline, but we've got offline and live at the same time, which is interesting.
Okay, poggers.
The channel itself says live, but when I go to watch now, it says offline. Maybe if I refresh. Aha! If I refresh, it works. We're in. We're good.
All right, cool. I've started recording. Let's get weird. What's the unpause hotkey?
Would you like to lead us in?
I will as soon as I figure out the unpause hotkey.
Is it just P?
It is. Oh my god, you're a genius. All right.
Thought I remembered that one.
Nice. All right. All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here whenever, whyever, and wherever you are watching from. My name is 4x4. I'm here with What To Britty. We'll be your play-by-play and colorcasters for today, taking on, or rather, broadcasting running the risk coverage of the open qualifiers, the second open qualifiers here. The 7th seeded Pulse against 26th seeded the Carolina Reapers. Britty, look, the seeds would tell you that this should be a one-sided matchup. But look, we've seen some upsets in these stages before, and if nothing else, the draft should give us something to talk about for quite a little while here.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a best of one, so very easily, it's not too shocking for any team to pull up with an upset, find something new, something different to play, and we're already seeing Carolina Reapers on that bottom side, looking down to that bottom lane there. That is a Twisted Fate 80 carry and a play support. They are looking to do a little damage down there.
They are cooking, I think is what the kids are saying these days. But the
Got that one right.
Yep, thank you. I'm glad. The Ari in the mid lane, though, that's a bit of a callback to earlier patches, right? I mean, this is a little bit more of a control mage, a little bit more shove and roam, right? But going with the electrocute, you can tell what kind of game Limerence wants to play here. Volibear in the jungle for Strova, and Bob Timer up there with the Udyr. That is, again, a little more tried and true. On the other side, Zach in the jungle. Reppy going to be on the Akali, so a high-octane mid laner here for Pulse. Bob Timer and Shocky. He's going to do some top lane things here. But look, this Twisted Fate, let's talk about it. Look, it's been terrorizing 14-4 and 14-3 a little bit, but I think people have really gotten wise to it this patch. But in the bottom lane, look, it's the same sort of thing. You can play it AD or AP, but given the rest of this composition, I imagine it's going to be an AD carry Twisted Fate through and through.
Yeah, I do think the interesting thing here is the Pulsar has a double range, very squishy bottom lane down here. So I do really like the Hwei and TF combination here to just output a ton of damage and be able to, if not match trades with them, look for some lethal angles at some point in this early game, especially since, you know, the Varus does have the cleanse, but Senna, a very viable target at pretty much any stage in the game. If you hit her with a gold card, you tag a fear on her with the Hwei Q, you're looking for a potential kill there, as they do get level 2 first, but so far, nothing too big trading-wise. It is just some health bars going back and forth.
Yeah, and I think part of that is kind of related to what you were talking about initially, is that, look, part of trading with a Senna is working around her cooldown. Part of trading in general is working down her opponent's cooldown, but Senna, especially early on, has some very long cooldowns. That W especially, right? If you want to go in and make something happen, you want to get in range of her, right? Twisted Fate, a viable AD carry, sure, but the range is not his friend here, right? So if you want to go in, that Senna, Justin Lunar, Sunner, on the Senna and Varus are going to outrange you in this matchup. If you're the Twisted Fate. Charm lands here on Deliverance. But so far, yeah. Like you said, not able to take advantage of the level 2 here, but Jimmy Koi, talk about range and talk about being able to match in the bot lane with range. That's Jimmy Koi's job.
Yeah, that's kind of been what the Hwei has been all about in these past couple of patches. If you've been watching any of the LCK, I think a little bit in the LPL as well, Hwei support is here to bully out some of these ranged, squishier supports. I saw it as a big counterpick to Renata for quite a while when she was popular with the Kalista pick.
Sure.
And I think it's essentially the same idea into the Senna, where you just can match them early game for damage, and since you don't have to focus on farming, a lot of those spells can just be pumped into your enemy laner and just say, hey, I may be a mage who like scales really well with items, but I do enough damage in the early game that you have to respect, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyra looking for a cheeky angle here, going forward, gets the flash there out of Jimmy Koi. Very nicely done. So, going to be valuable. Again, there's a pretty immobile bot lane. That's the thing, right? I mean, neither one of these bot lane are very mobile, to be fair. but for Jimmy Koi especially, we want to talk about what Lunar and Just can do. Like you said, Jimmy Koi, with the range and with the early damage that this way has, it's about matching pressure, right, for both of these, for this lane.
But now with the Lost Flash, it's going to be a lot more difficult to do that. That was a really nice angle there from Cryo to just look for that early gank, burn an early summoner. It's going to make the laning phase for Lunar and Just a lot more comfortable, and I think it should allow them to scale up a lot better. As we do see, it is Poke Varus here. With the tier already in inventory, it's not going to be any sort of on-hit shenanigans. That's some nice trading by Shocky up here on the top side. Yeah, Bot is on the Udyr, so he's gonna, you know, also sustain up. It's kind of what the Udyr Aatrox matchup is. Udyr loses a lot of health. Until he runs out of mana, though, he's not really in any danger. And he's still sitting on a couple of biscuits, so I don't think he's really feeling the pain just yet as he takes another very unhealthy trade. He's actually getting really low here. He's gonna get that turtle shield on. Get the boar stance to the awakened shield. Me? He's so tanky. Grassprox in now. Shocky potentially. Turtle has to flash away. And Ba with some spicy trades on the Udyr. He's really tested his limits.
Man, oh man. Yeah, I thought Bob Timer was dead to rights there. Right, like you said, until he's low on mana, maybe not in too much danger. That mana was starting to tick down. Shocky. Those hits were starting to hurt. Absolutely. Strova looking up. Not able to get really any sort of good angle here, and especially pre-6. Volibear not going to do much as far as diving with not a fantastic wave here. And Kyra looking up towards that top side. Not going to find anything, though. Void Growth starting here by Strova.
I do want to point out another interesting bit of itemization here from Remy onto this Twisted Fate. The early Swiftness boots. Something you were talking about earlier, range not really being Twisted Fate's friend. How else do you make up for range rather than just running at your opponent faster? The Swiftness boots are not only going to make him safer, get him away from ganks a little bit faster, but also he's able to get in range for those gold cards a little bit quicker, able to set up his team just that little bit more. And he doesn't particularly need the attack speed boots depending on what kind of build he goes. I like the utility that he's opting for here.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic point. And this composition in general, relatively short range, right, for Carolina Reapers. So, well, except for the Wave. But yeah, no, I mean, and with the Ghost and the Flash, right, these are a little more offensive summoner spells. The Flash is kind of your only escape here. But to be fair, into this team, you probably don't need the cleanse, right? There isn't like a Sejuani ult that you got to look out for, anything a little more reliable, right? The Varus ult, yes, it is a long bit of CC, but it is tough to land here. Romy trades here back and forth. The fear lands there from Jimmy Koi. Very nicely done. Just going to take a couple of trades here. Romy getting range for the gold card, but just trading back nicely.
Yeah, that's kind of the trade pattern that you expect to see out of this bottom lane, but now we have junglers influencing the matchup. That's an aftershock burn from Cryo, so I think suddenly their chances of potentially looking for a dive a lot lower, even though Reppy is down here on the rotate. With the wave clear, I think they are just going to be forced to walk away. It was a good look, though.
Yeah, almost able to execute that again. Once Strova hits level 6, right, that's when we're really going to start seeing that potentially come through. In the top lane, level 6 going to be big for the Aatrox. Maybe not as much for Bob Timer here. Limerence as well, waiting for that big level 6. Reppy going to be feeling really good at that spike as well. Both junglers getting a little bit sorry. Had something else pop up here. All right, there we go. No, lead the way here, Brady. Anything you wanted to hit?
Yeah, right now it is just uncomfortable trade there for Jimmy Koi on the bottom side. And something we haven't talked about a lot is actually this mid lane matchup. We mentioned earlier the Ahri with the electrocute having a little bit of that early lane domination, but Reppy with the fleet footwork, the Doran shield, but I imagine the second one if we're going to put that on pause. A nice dive in the bottom lane. Jimmy Koi getting very, very low, but he's got the shielding, he's got the healing, he's going to stay alive for a little bit longer. Pop that Zac passive, and his first blood going over to Remy on the TF. Give him the double. They're out playing the tower dive.
Fantastic stuff. Able to mop up the Zac passive as well.
You might have the damage here with that stacked deck. Romy's just going to go on a killing spree. Nice use of that Destiny Gate to get him back on the map. And wow, what a play from the Carolina Reapers.
Like you said, just outplaying the dive. Simply put there. Kyra didn't feel, yeah, that level 6, that was one of the weaker, more unfortunate level 6s that you've seen from a Zac probably in a while. Wasn't able to get maybe all the healing that he wanted there. And the CC setup, I think, just wasn't there, right, from Lunar and Just in the way that they would have wanted it to be. And maybe with the Dawning Shadow, you get a little bit more of that extra sustain that you need, that little extra tick to make things happen. But look, the fact of the matter is, even if that dive went a little bit sideways, it shouldn't have resulted in 3 kills for Romy.
Yeah, that's a really big deal, especially we were talking about the utility that TF has started with the swiftness boots, but now that he's got that extra bit of econ in his inventory, he's going to get a lot closer to that Kraken Slayer, and it's going to make this laning phase a lot less comfortable for this Varus Senna. A lot of their power we were talking about is this early game, is the fact that they're going to be able to outpoke and outtrade a lot of the early pressure that TF has. But now that he's got those extra 3 kills, Jimmy Coy picked up a couple of assists, it's only going to get harder for them.
Yeah, and you'd like to think that, again, just based on name value, based on the fact that Polestar, they are as high-seeded as they are, that maybe this is an unfamiliar situation that they found themselves in, or at least they know how to bounce back from situations like this. These are players that have been around the block, been there and done that a little bit. And the Twisted Fate, right, he's not necessarily kind of more a hyper carry. A lot of the utility is, a lot of the value, there's a word I'm looking for, thank you, Brandon, that he brings is the fact that you can, right, walk up to kind of point and click CC, right? You can hit a button, and then you can just click on someone, and they are able to be stunned, right? So it's going to be, what else I'm looking at is how they're able to accelerate these leads, right? That Twisted Fate ultimate is on a long cooldown early on, so, you know, still waiting a little bit, but I'm looking at maybe how he syncs up with Limerence's teleport, Bob Timer's teleport, and things like that, getting this early priority onto dragons and things like that. Because for right now, Justin Lunar, yes, they're down, but that means they're not opting into fights, right? They are perfectly happy to sit back and trade and make Rami and Jimmy Koi's life miserable, and that seems to be what they're doing here as they posture for this first dragon.
Yeah, they do want to get their hands on this early Hextech Dragon. That wasn't a very early Spiraling Despair from Jimmy Koi that just went absolutely wide. And oh, nice crushing Maw to get a grab in. That's a flash and a cleanse. Burned away from Lunar, but now Kryra is potentially in trouble. He's got that Donny Shadow over the top. The health bars are so low. Somebody's got to pick up a kill here. Jimmy Koi is going to find Kryra just barely on the edge of that fight. Maybe if someone stands for a little bit longer, but Carolina Reapers again come out on top.
Like you said, Gritty, just barely. And Reppy, he's thinking that maybe Polestar aren't done here just yet. Flashing forward!
Oh, flash all in! Finds the shutdown goal, but it's immediately gonna get traded back by Limerence. Nice killer instinct there to find that kill, but immediately trades back 1 for 1.
Man, oh man. Yeah, I mean, I thought, look, maybe for me, if I'm Reppy and I'm making that play, I'm thinking in terms of like a sub-cost fallacy. I'm like, dude, I made my way down here. It's not like I'm losing anything, right? The wave in the mid lane, no one got a crash off or anything. Limerence is down there as well. But I thought maybe Red was going to think the better of it because, like you said, it was traded back. To me, yeah, there was no other way that play was going to end. But Limerence, or Reppy, very nicely done. Able to get in there and get the kill. At least get something rolling here for Polestar because really they've got nothing going here.
Yeah, about 1,000 gold behind right now. They're just struggling to find any of that relevancy. I will say they do have a lot better scaling as of right now. It's shocked you can't find the pullback there on the on-goal chains. But yeah, they do have a lot of really good scaling with the Zac. He's just going to become a monster tank in the late game. Varus, poke build doesn't scale as well as the on-hit does, but he will still be very, very annoying for the short-range Carolina Reapers to deal with. And Senna is one of the quintessential scaling champions that we have in League, so we know that she's going to be able to make her presence known in the late game. So it's not as though Pulse are feeling super, super bad about the potential losses here in the early game, but if they don't start cleaning it up soon, it could start to spell trouble.
Well, you like what you see here, if you're a Carolina Reapers fan, that they are really keeping their foot on the gas.
Chains going straight into Romy. Now Jimmy Koi potentially in trouble. Shocked. He's going to force that flash out of him. He's going to flash forward himself. Get that Q2. Pop him down. Donate the kill over to Lunar. The Varus finally getting on the board.
That's big. Man, did they ever need that. Because you pointed out, right, the Varus with this on-hit, or with this poke build, excuse me, not going to scale very well into the late game, but you need to get him going in the mid game, if nothing else, right? You've got to get him into a place where at kind of the 13-2, well, let's see, Rami pops the ghost here.
Ooh, nice elastic slingshot. He'll find one. The Donny Shadow over the top as well. Rami's getting super, super low. Reppy will finish that one up with the kunai. And a nice counter dive from Pulsar. They're not out of it yet.
Oh, no, not even close. And, in fact, don't look now, but they are ahead in gold. And they're going to pick up some more tower plating here as well. Bob Timer getting some on his, getting some on the top side as Shocky has completed that Profane Hydra. You're going to see certain item spikes starting to come in here. Obviously, the Static Shiv, the definition of balling on a budget. And it's not like Rami had any any legs down, shall we say, in getting that one really, really quickly. Like you said, got the Swifties pretty much on that first back, and then came back with 3 kills and said, all right, cool, watch this. So now again, right, we're going to see, all right, Carolina Reapers are encountering some adversity for the first time in this game. Now what, right? Again, using that ultimate on cooldown, that's what I want to see from Robbie, right? Where do you plant him? I want to see him in the mid lane, right? This is a guy, there's a Twisted Fate with Static Shiv. This is, if you were to look up the dictionary definition of shove and roam, you wouldn't see Talia there. You'd see Romy with this build right now and this lead. Stick him in the mid lane, make him react, or, yeah, just put him kind of where you need him, but stick him in the mid lane so he's got the easiest access to the important parts of the game.
Yeah, that is sort of the advantage of having that solo lane Twisted Fate. You can have him in a side lane, split pushing and roaming with his extra AP as Shocky is going to find the first tower, but Bobtimer doesn't want to let him go for free. Jungler's up here as well. I don't think Shocky will be long for this world. Some nice healing out of that Profane Hydra. He's trying to outplay it. The Rescue Attack Rock is coming through, though, and the Shutdown Gold will go over to the Volibear. Now trading the bottom side. Ultimate's traded. Those chains coming through. Jimmy Coy's getting super, super low, but Romy finds Lunar first, and now Justice in trouble. The Severing Bolt over the top just to secure the damage is a double kill for Romy on the TF.
Make it 5 for the TF80 carry, and Bobtimer making things happen on the top side now. So 1-1 in terms of the towers here, and Strova going to take advantage of that, move himself into the top lane, going to start up, at least I think he's starting up that Herald here. We'll see what the directed camera has to say about that. But Romy, look, I wanted that ult to be used pretty much on cooldown, and he used it to secure himself a kill. That's just fine.
Pulls him back. He's got the lightning procs there, but I do not think Bobtimer is long for this world. It's another kill for the Akali. That's 3 now for the mid lane assassin. This is starting to get dangerous for Carolina Reapers.
Yeah, you talk about a side lane threat, right? Someone who can 1v1 anyone in this game right now. I'm perfectly happy with that being rescued. And if Shocky can get anything going right now, this is going to bode really, really well for them, because the 80 Twisted Fate, right, the Static Shift Twisted Fate, kind of, I wouldn't say pigeonholes you, but certainly makes it, it's certainly not in this draft, I don't think it pigeonholes you. It can pigeonhole you into playing a certain type of way, right? But just the Static Shift build in general, right? You telegraph very much what you want to do. It's meet me in the side lane, let's settle our differences there. And right now, right, with the lead that was being built up by Carolina Reapers, it was going to make it really hard for Reppy or Shocky or anybody for that matter to match him in a side lane. But now you've got something going here. Now you've got the ability to respond in time.
Yeah, I am a little surprised that he did opt for the Static Shiv. I do see that he wants to be going for that wave clear style of build, but the flavor that a lot of AD Twisted Fates seem to go for is that Kraken Slayer, just for the consistent DPS. You drop in with your ulti, you gold card your target, you get like 6 autos in on him while they're still stunned, and you get a lot of damage out of those procs, but opting for the Static Shiv tells me, yeah, he wants to wave clear, he wants to sit in the side lane, where, like, kind of as a mid lane AP Twisted Fate would do. You push the waves, you clear them out, and like you said, you look to make plays with your ulti on the map. We just haven't seen too many of them outside of the lane itself, where granted, Roby's gotten very far ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Look, he definitely hasn't had to, right? This is the point you're trying to make here. Okay, he hasn't made these kind of, 5,000 unit plays with his ultimate, but he definitely has not had to. And I worry a little bit about these Static Shiv, not because necessarily I think it's like a wrong build, but like you were saying, Brady, there's a reason that the just hardcore, just I'm going to just shred through you, rip through you with damage, right, build's a thing. Because this champion rips. This champion does a truck ton of damage. And I worry about where the rest of the damage is going to come from in this composition, right? There's no one that's going to beat out of your big hyper carry. If the Hwei was in the mid lane, I might feel a little better about that.
Oh, yeah, but that is... Ooh, nice flash away from Jimmy Coy there. Does not want to get pulled by those chains. But yeah, especially now with the Mountain Dragon secured for Polestar, that's going to be a little bit more defensive stats for these tankier frontliners that you were hoping that the Twisted Fate would be running through, because Ahri's not exactly your tank shredder. Hang on, hits a nice charm. Going to force the Shroud out of Reppy. But yeah, Ahri's not going to be your tank shredder, especially with the Archangel's first item. It's not a Leandry's build where she's trying to just pump out as many abilities as possible to keep that item on uptime. You've got an assassin build here, despite the Seraph's first item. They're looking to try and get on these backline threats, get on the Varus, get on the Senna, and burst them out before they can be a threat. You don't really have someone who's going to make their way through Shocky, through Kryra, on this Zac especially, who's going to be such a difficult tank threat to try and make their way through.
And that's something else I think it's worth watching, right, is with the lead that the Carolina Reapers here still do have, is how are they going to set up for fights, and then how are they going to use Limerence to take advantage of that, right? Because you've got frontliner. Yep, you can. If you're an Ahri and you're building this more assassin build like you're alluding to, you can't take, that route one, if you will, right? You can't just walk up and expect to find yourself a good angle. You've got to get in the back line. You've got to get some creative angles going, whether that's with kind of, Strova ulting over one side and you over the other, etc. Right? I'm not here gonna tell players who are way better than me how to play. The point is, Limerence needs to find some creative angles. Just like you said, he's not your prototypical tank shredder, right? And Romy, he's not going that Kraken Slayer build, right? You're not gonna see an LDR in this build anytime soon, I don't think.
Yeah, maybe a third item here is he's got the Crit Cloak,
yeah.
and
as soon as I said it, I was like, actually, he might.
it wouldn't be a bad idea,
No.
but it's still not gonna make up for the loss of DPS that some other AD carries would have. Like it's not a Vayne, it's not a Kai'Sa, it's not a tank shredding inbuilt in the kit kind of champion. This is a static shiv and a rapid fire cannon. This is a TF that is looking to land some gold cards on some important targets and then get some follow-up damage after that. But it's not a I'm gonna ult in and one-shot your AD carry backline kind of build.
No, but it's out there. So that's your flavor. The Twisted Fate can do something really, really similar to that. But the one thing they do have going for them is, look, this is for both these teams, to be fair. These are team comps that are relatively easy to execute, right? You've got your bruisers in the mid lane and the top lane, right? Both these Iceborne gauntlets coming in here. You've got
shot.
Hey.
Flash away from Romy. He's gonna manage to stay safe there. Now Cryer potentially getting a little bit low there, but the chains are gonna be burned. Shocky wants to find his way in. They found Romy! Shut him down! Gonna force the ult out of Stroy as well. While you were forced to run away, the teleport burned from Log Timer. Now with this Herald in the mid lane, Polestar can look to finally press an advantage.
Well, that's very well done. I didn't think I was going to see Romy's health bar disappear that quickly. Now the Kevin's going to help out with this push as well. Might not be done just yet. Jimmy Koi will lay down a little bit of damage there. But now the gold's starting to be evened up here. Not going to get as much out of that as you would have liked, right? I mean, and that's kind of something that I heard someone much smarter than me say about Rift Herald right now is, look, people talk about Void Grubs and, you know, oh, do you pile the Void Grubs, you pile the Dragon? That's a very interesting discussion here. One thing that's kind of almost non-negotiable is Rift Herald is just not as strong as it used to be because the thing spawns after 14 minutes now, right? Part of what was made it so good, the fact that you could get 2 of them, right, was that you could just rip through some turret plating, you could accelerate the early game so well, dump so much gold so easily into multiple characters. But now, just not the case here. But this game has been entertaining here, Brittany. We've had some back and forth moments here, win conditions developing for both sides. And again, I have to say, I feel a little more comfortable with kind of how the late game for Polestar is going to end up. We talked about the scaling. We talked about maybe a little bit more reliable win condition. We talked about how there is just a lot more damage coming out. You're seeing it right here.
Execute coming through for Reppy, but he got coming in, but just deletion from Reppy. Now he's looking for more. We were talking about the lack of damage from that Twisted Fate build, but a flash forward from Stroya is going to keep his AD carry alive. He'll give him the shutdown gold as well, but a 1-for-1. You're not feeling too bad about it. You're playing this Akali's. Stroya might be in trouble, but he's playing the tanky Volibear, so I think, yeah, he just gets to walk out of there.
And just, he went that first item Maul, which I actually like. Because, yeah, I mean, look, like we talked about, Limerence, he wants to get into the back line and try to eliminate one of your damage dealers. Great. That can help out with that. And Jimmy Koi has the range of a Xerath, effectively, so you've got a little bit of shielding and help against that, right? You're not going to get, if you find yourself in a 1v1 duel with this Twisted Fate, you know, that's the record scratch. You might be wondering how I found myself here, right? Other questions need to be asked.
Yeah. I do think it's also interesting that alongside the Maw, they've opted for the Tenacity Boots and the Celestial Opposition. They are going full-on defensive center, really just relying on the soul stacking to give them their damage. While the Maw defensive item is going to be really good, especially with Static Share Twisted Fate already does a lot of magic damage. The Hui obviously does a ton of magic damage. Ari, magic and true damage. They don't really have a purely physical damage threat. So the Magic Resist coming through for Just is going to provide a lot of value. It's just a matter of, I wonder if he's indexing a little bit too much in on that safety and if he might be better served looking for a little bit more threat, like maybe a Rapid Fire Cannon, maybe an Umbral Blade. Try and get a little bit more value out of the damage that you're able to have.
Yeah, no, and I worry about that a little bit as well, right? Especially given the fact that this lethality virus is going to fall off just a little bit. But look, lethality is so strong right now, and you have 2 tanks, 3 non-tanks, right? That's good enough for me. I had a co-caster said to me this morning, his opinion is, unless you have literally 5 tanks on the other team, lethality is just straight up better. I'm not here to discuss the kind of the merits of that, but I think the sentiment is valid. The sentiment is something that's been felt since the lethality rework. But look, you've got consistent damage sources otherwise, so personally, I'm not that worried about it. And I guess, right, if I'm trying to put myself in the minds of the Polestar composition and the Polestar coaches, the Polestar staff, say, look, your job just, right, isn't to provide damage. Your job is just to hit a couple heals or hit a couple roots, right? Do the healing and shielding kind of over the top. That's his primary job. You just got to stay alive and take advantage of more drawn-out fights, or at least that's, try to justify that for deep experience.
Yeah, last slingshot into mid lane. Cryer now maybe actually in trouble. Escray is here for the punish. Flash in to try and get that snap back. He's got the healing off the blobs, though. He's going to stay alive. The Spiral of Despair has landed onto Lunar to cleanse over the wall. He's going to flash out to stay safe. But there's that Destiny Gate. The single auto from Romy will seal his fate. Take the kill for the TF.
How did Kryra live that? I have no idea. That's Zach healing, baby. Just find your globs, and the game plays a solo TP.
Shocky flashes in, deletes Jimmy Coy off the map. Now they can look to start another fight in earnest. Going to defend their Sen to keep her alive for just a little bit longer as Wildtimer's forced to run away. A nice gold card from Romy, and it's just one again. Shocking once more. He's going to look for Wildtimer, but Udyr's got the ghost on. You're not cashing this champion, surely, as Shocky still once more. He's looking for more damage, but now the rest of the members of Reapers have rotated. They're going to force him to dash out. Aggression from Shocky, but a good punish overall. They find one at least.
And I think what was maybe a little scary about that fight is that Reppy was nowhere to be found. He was doing his thing in the top lane, and he that was just Shocky kind of going forward. That was Kryra doing his thing. That was Lunar and Just maybe trying to get back into the fight. And again, these long lanes are starting to open up, right? And you see Preppy and the priority that he's putting on making plays otherwise, right? And kind of setting up for the play after the play, right? That's partially what you're doing when you're split pushing. And when you're getting, you make things happen in the longer lanes is, okay, once we make a play, then the after effects are going to be felt much more harshly. Now, posturing for this Baron here, Limerence and company, second to the party, but, well, actually, no, not really. They got some wards down. They're just kind of clearing out some lingering vision here from Polestar. Dragon not going to be up for another couple minutes here, so this is going to be the objective to fight for, and Polestar might be in a little bit of trouble here, but don't think either side is taking the bait.
Yeah, I do want to say with the, I would say the constant Edge of Knights as a fight is disengaged there by Polestar. There's a lot of Edge of Knights on the enemy team for the Carolina Reapers as Chain's going to land on Limerence, but he's going to be able to walk away. His Spiral Despair is going to hold Cryer in place for just a little bit longer, but the teleport is going to zone off the rest of the members. They've got a nice bit of fear, though, coming out for him. Shocky is not that tanky on this Aatrox. He will be shut down. Wildtimer picks up that one. Now Preppy trying to get on the back line. Perfect execution. Can't find the damage on the Jimmy Coy. Here's the last 1 HP on the heel. Romy goes on a killing spree. Varus finally snipes down Jimmy Coy. Takes that one up, and Cryer will be next to fall. It's 3 for 1 for Carolina Reapers, and they're going to look to the Baron.
The double-digit seed is here to play, Brittany. How about it? Carolina Reapers taking to Polestar here. Preppy, I thought he had it in on that fight. I thought, okay, once he gets onto Romy, it's curtains. But he wasn't able to finish the job in one go, and one gold card later, it was curtains for him. That point-and-click CC has been what's always made Twisted Fate so powerful in any meta, right? He's always at least a little viable just because of that utility that he brings. Now 8-3, and now, Brittany, now we're cooking with gas here. He's got the Kraken Slayer going, so now I'm feeling a little better about the prospects here. He's going to have a much easier time. Like you said, one gold card lands, you can rip 6 autos, right? You can make this a really painful experience. Baron coming up now. Ultimate not available here for Romy, but that's where I've got my sights set, right? I've got the momentum. I'm about like 1,000, 3,000 gold ahead right now. That's 600
Casually.
gold per. Yeah, exactly. So you're at least a component ahead on everybody, but I'm looking to take fights right now.
Yeah, I think the important thing is a lot of the gold for Carolina Reapers is on this Twisted Fate. You make kind of a gamble when you take these off-meta picks and put them into a lane like bottom lane. You say, okay, this is going to be our bottom lane carry. This is who we're playing through, and thankfully for the Carolina Reapers, it's worked out really well for them. Romy has gotten so strong in this TF. I'm assuming either parts of a Ginsu's or a Blade of the Ruin King to try and start getting through these tankier frontliners is what's next in line for him, but he's only going to get more damage from here, and as the Carolina Reapers secure their second dragon, they're going to start to get to that soul stacking as well, and Twisted Fate with some extra movement speed out of that ulti does not feel half bad.
No. To put it lightly. Yeah, you hit the nail right on that.
Made trouble. Udyr's just going to sprint in for the stun. Shocky trying to trade back. Going to get the Sarah Shield off of Limerence, but can't find a kill. Strova will find their third. It's actually been able to go deathless on this volley bear, untalked about throughout most of this game, but happy to just be supporting the team.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but absolutely worth mentioning. Strova, a really solid game for the Carolina Reapers jungler. Tier 2 taken down in response here from by Pulse. So, you know, they've got something a little something going here. But the Dragons tied up 2-2 now. Still 3,000 gold here. The Baron, they're getting, you know, they're getting something out of it, but maybe not as much as you would like. But look, you got pressure on all 3 lanes now, if nothing else. I think ideally would have liked to crack open that mid tier 2. That's kind of your more important one. But look, if you're the Carolina Reapers right now, depending on who you ask, you weren't even supposed to be. You are playing some solid League of Legends, and you are taking it to one of our higher ranked teams in this OQ and putting yourself in a really good spot here. And I think, yeah, just as the damage has come through here, more and more for Roman. He's on 4 items. There's that Ginsu. So now, right, it's play through him, right? Like you were alluding to, Brady. You're not alluding to, you explicitly said, you have put all your eggs in this Twisted Fate basket. This is who you are playing through. Let's see how they can do that as this game progresses.
Yeah, and it's the nice thing about having that slightly more standard composition. Aside from the Twisted Fate Hui in the bottom lane, you have that very consistent top side of the Meteor Volley Bear being very tanky frontline. If you have Ahri for that consistent magic damage, that little bit of backline pressure to allow the space for the Twisted Fate to play through as they're going to burn the Spirit Rush onto the top side. Shocky may be in trouble. That Call of the Forge, not Call of the Forge God, Dawning Shadow over the top. Shocky does so much damage onto the Aatrox. Going to pick up 1 kill. Now Carolina Reapers now are forced to run away. Stroya maybe left to the wolves, has to burn his own flash to get away as Krya wants to get in, but he's ghosted away from Romy pretty quick on the Twisted Fate. But man, you cannot disrespect this Aatrox damage. This lethality build hurts.
That hit like a truck. That was Jimmy Coy just in for a bit of a rude awakening there. And I think you hope if you're Carolina that was all that ever was. That is the only thing that is the only lesson you hope to ever learn from that Aatrox damage. Is okay, we do need to respect that just a little bit more. We saw what they were able to do there. Yeah, a bit of an unfortunate couple of flashes. Reapers not able to kind of get out of their own way, but still, look, no real harm, no foul, right? No kind of big shutdown was given over, so you're still feeling okay. No objectives to fight over here, so it's just about, again, stalling this out for a little bit, because, again, we talked about it, the scaling does favor the side of Polestar, but really by just a little bit, because I think partially more than anything, like, look, you still got kind of just standard team compositions to play out, right? Both of these fights are going to be, both these teams want to opt into more extended fights, because that's kind of all you've got, right? You've got some, an assassin and a lowercase a assassin on the side of, in the mid lane for as Ahri, I should say. But otherwise, look, you're still feeling okay if you are Carolina.
Yeah, you're not feeling too bad about the spot you're in. Baron is going to be up in about a minute or so. They should be able to hopefully keep their pressure on, but we have to remember, like, we keep talking about it, the fact that the Carolina Reapers are the lower seeded team here, but that seeding does come with expectations, and I think a lot of the people who are either watching this game, who are fans of Polestar, who are just fans of the NACL in general, are just saying, like, okay, this is a higher seeded team. We're expecting more from them. We want to see better from them. Right now, they're not exactly coming up to it, but Rappy now sitting on 3.5 items on this Akali. I think this has to be the focus for Polestars. They have to say, okay, Rappy, you got to get him to the back line. You have to threaten this TF. If you can't one-shot him, we're not really going to be able to get to him.
Yeah, and like I said, that's kind of what it's just what it's going to come down to. Baron is going to come up here in, like you said, it's a little less than a minute now as that hourglass hovers over your mini-map there. Lunar, see that the damage that he's able to do, hopefully, right, you can find those squishier targets in the back line, because right now he's doing absolutely jack squat to Bob Timer and Strova.
It is a full item Varus, so while we were talking about how Romy has gotten so far ahead, has all these items, and while his items are definitely more expensive than the Lunar on the Varus's are, it's still 4 items completed for the Varus. That's Cyril's Grudge in inventory. This Varus arrows, if they can find the squishier targets, if they can start to hit Limerence or Romy or even Jimmy Coy, they're going to do a lot of damage. And again, Carolina Reapers just have to respect how much damage this Polestar comp really does have.
Yeah, and that's Cyril's. I'm glad you pointed that out, because, right, you can say what you want about, oh, it's lethality this, and, you know, oh, it's not going to scale that. Well, Cyril does his percent pen. Like, now we're getting to the business end of the game here.
Troya maybe caught out. Dawning Shadow over the top. They're just going to shut him down. Goodbye, Mollybear. His first death of the game is going to lose his team, the Baron.
That is that's a feels horrible, That feels really, really rough. Like you said, Strova played an excellent game. A literal deathless, near flawless game here. Now, Polestar should be able to take this Baron down easy cheesy. Looking for the turn.
They're looking to contest. It's a nice smite from Cryro. They're going to guarantee that one for themselves. I like the aggression there from the Reapers, trying to make something happen, but can't find any exit frags, can't find the Baron. They're just going to look to start pushing down this mid-tier 2 and finally crack that one open.
All right. Now, all right, you've paved yourself a way forward here, but unfortunately, it seems like you're going to be on the defensive here because it's still a 5v4, right? Jungler down for Carolina Reapers. Not that matters, really, with an objective up here. Reppy, he's stuck in the mid lane, but not for long. He's got the Unleashed teleport. He's going to be able to...
Bobheimer. Maybe a little bit risky on the flank here. He is playing Udyr, and he is on the ghost. He's going to be able to walk away for a while. Now the Spiraling Despair comes through. He's going to go down, but it's going to be traded maybe 1-for-1, but no, Cryro's going to survive. Has that passive on. Shocky now. Maybe in the front line. Oh, the damage from the 8th front! Profane Hydra has a hell of an item. Limerence will find one on the back line, but it's just that he finds one. It's an ace for Polestar out of nowhere. They find a team fight win, and they might look to end the game.
Absolutely wild that the Carolina Reapers were in control of this game until, like, a minute ago.
They
right?
were winning right until they weren't.
Yeah. Sometimes it really is that simple, Brittany. What a fight there. Just, oh man, if you're in Carolina Reapers, you're going to be kicking yourself. You had that game. There was, you had a lot to look forward to. You were taking all your win conditions, all the win condition boxes. You were feeling really good about that. But Strova just stepped a little too far forward. And then Polestar did what Carolina Reapers were doing in the early game, which was, okay, you give us an inch, we're going to take a mile. They got that Baron. Not everyone reset. In fact, nobody reset. It was just Reppy to get that mid lane wave. Everybody else just kind of stayed in the top lane and said, all right, no, I dare you. Actually, we're in charge of your jungle. I dare you to come forward. Watch what's going to happen.
Yeah, I liked the idea of that flank from Bobheimer. Look for a little bit of punish on the over-aggression, but Aatrox just does that little bit too much damage. The collapse was just a little bit better from Polestar, and that... we keep harping on it, but that's kind of what you expect from the higher-seeded teams. They have that macro knowledge. They're able to play that micro a little bit better, and they know what they're doing in those high-tension situations like that late-game team fight. And Polestars made it... I'm not going to say they made it look easy, but when they cleaned up, they didn't miss a spot.
Nope. When you aim at the best, you best not miss. I think I butchered that one a little bit, but the point still stands here.
That's enough.
Yeah, exactly. Brady, any parting thoughts on this one before we let the good people go? Maybe moving on to another one. I don't know. But we'll see how the coverage continues over the rest of the night here. But that's going to be it for this game. Any final thoughts from you?
Carolina Reapers, aside from the ending, actually should be pretty happy with that game. They
100%.
had a lot of good control. They were playing really well through that early and mid game. They had a lot of great map coverage and map plays. They just couldn't find that finish in the end. And you can learn a lot more from a loss than you can from a win. But I think Carolina Reapers really can start to pull ahead and really can start to surprise some of the mid to lower seeded teams that maybe are looking at this match and saying, oh, Pulse should win this 1-0 easy, not even a problem.
No, yeah, the 1-0 does not tell the full story. Carolina Reapers absolutely a team to watch as Swiss goes on. And, yeah, could be one of the ones to make some noise, move it to, 1-2, 2-2, or maybe even better as Swiss rolls on. That's going to do it for us here. We're going to cut the stream now. We might be back later tonight. Who knows? But either way, every single one of these games will get casted. You can bet your top, bottom, and middle dollars on that one. For Brittany, I've been 4x4. Thank you for being here. Have a great rest of your day.